Hi, welcome to Craig's World. My name's Craig. Welcome to What Is My Madness. Today we've got a Mercedes Vito on an 08 plate. I think it's a W6 something. I've had a little problem, it's come back to me. I think the starter motor, because it's just not turning over right. So I've just been to where I get all my parts, some of my parts from, and I've just been and bought a brand spanking new starter motor, 130 quid. I think it's a bit dear, but I don't have one of these in my stores. But as I told you before, the one that I'm going to take off, it's only going to probably be the bushes in the back. So the one I take off, everything I take off, I'll rebuild. So I'll put new bushes in the other one. So if this ever goes, don't have to spend it again, I just swap them over. So I've never done a starter motor on this, but I've only recently just changed the gearbox, and the starter motor's on the gearbox. You've got to get it from underneath. It's a dead simple procedure, this one. Only 2 bolts which hold it on, which are here and here, and there's only 2 where the power goes into, the main power. So what I'm going to do before you see, disconnect the battery. There's a video on how to do the batteries. Disconnect the battery completely, so there's no power, because you are gonna, if you don't, you're gonna short something. So if you disconnect your battery, you've got no problem. Jack it up and put axle stands underneath it, and then what I'll do, I'll meet you at the van. I'll get all that prep now, and I'll get the tools that we're going to need to do the job, which is, it's only a couple of tools. I'll see you back at the van. Right, okay, everything's propped up and protected. So the 2 ways that you can see behind are them 2 bolts, them 2 nuts. They have to come off and they have to go back on in exactly the same way. So to do this, it's only them two bolts, and then on the bell housing, which is a weird name, you got 1 bolt there and 1 bolt there. So them are the only 4 things to do on this vehicle. So I don't know how I'm going to do this to film it, but what I would do first would be undo them 2 while I can get at them while it's stable. So that's what I'm going to undo now. I don't know how I'm going to hold this, but I'll just undo them and then I'll show you. Okay, so now I've undone this. This is to the little one, which was a 10mm, and this one to the big one was a 13mm. And this is the whole reason why you disconnect your battery, because that would spark like mad just resting there. So that's the whole reason why we disconnect the batteries. So my next job will be to undo those 2 bolts, and they're very easy to get to. So I'll try and get these, I'll undo them, and then I will loosen them off, and you can see me take the starter motor off. Right, I've now undone the 2 bolts. They're already undone, so it is as simple as just taking off and down. Oh, right, there's the old one, there's the new one. Right, I do have to admit, when that was on, as you've seen underneath, the bolt, that bolt was a little bit hard to undo. It just took a little bit of winding off. So I'm going to refit this now, and like I said, it's just a reverse procedure. So we're going to put this in. I'm going to put this bottom, just put the bottom nut in first. Sorry, the bottom nut in first, and then you can see the procedure. Right, okay. So as I just said, I've just located it in. I'm just going to nip the bottom bolt with a few turns on first, because then what we're going to do is put the top bolt in by hand until it locates, and we're going to tighten the top one first. Right, So as you can see, it's still got plenty there and it can still wobble around. So the top bolt is already here. And what we're going to do is just push that in. I'm going to need 2 hands for this, so let's see if I can get you central. Right, now them 2 are now tight, which you've got to do that by hand and then tighten it up and then just tighten the bottom one. Now, if you remember these two leads, the big lead on, washer, funny little clampy washer, and then nut. Now if you remember, that was a 13 if I said last time. The other little lead, which was this one, this thing goes under. I'm going to do is put that underneath, put that on so it's not catching any other lead. Right, now I know that's a 10 and that's a 13, so I'm going to tighten these up and I'll show you. We'll go from there. As you can see, I'm just finishing off now the connections. There you go. Right, so the 10mm is on tight and the 13mm is on tight. Then with the 2 wires that come off, the 2 bolts holding onto the belt housing which holds this on, that is now all solid and done. So our next procedure the next thing that we have to do is to take all the safety measures off to put it back onto the floor and then reconnect the battery, which is, as you know, just under the seat. So I'm going to get all the safety stuff away. I'm going to get all these down and moved so we can put it back on the wheels, and then we'll do the battery and we'll see if she starts. Right, okay, so I've already just tightened up the positive. The negative is on this side. On these, you just got to push them in just a little bit. Give it a wiggle. So let it undo. That's it. And don't forget, with any battery, they've got to have the clamp which holds the battery in. Really hard to do this one-handed. Right, 'cause I put all the seat back together once I know she starts. That's that tight. Right, let's see if she starts. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Right, out of gear. There you go. Works absolutely perfect. So thank you for watching, guys. This is how you replace a starter motor on a Vito, Mercedes Vito van, or any Vito. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.